life on Earth depends on a series of improbabilities and coincidences. Without them, neither we nor anything we know would exist. The distance to the Sun, the size of the Earth, its rotation, the atmosphere, its magnetic field, liquid water, and the presence of the Moon are just some of the factors that allow life. The rest of the solar system appears to be devoid of it. Though some of the moons of Jupiter or Saturn might contain the ingredients necessary for the existence of living beings, including oceans of water. The observable universe is much larger. It contains billions of galaxies, each with its millions or billions of stars. Considering this vastness, the idea that life might exist elsewhere in the universe doesn't seem so improbable. However, due to the great distances involved, it may be very hard for us to detect that life, let alone communicate with it. Perhaps in the future, we will be able to make interstellar journeys. Traveling through wormholes to other galaxies. But humanity has only taken its first steps beyond its home.
In this cosmic vastness, our planet, with its diversity of ecosystems and living beings, is a reminder of how fortunate we are.
Volcanic activity might be essential for creating the right conditions for life on Earth. Iceland ranks among the countries with the most active volcanoes. It's a land of ice and fire. Sitting atop the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates, a tectonically active zone. Predicting eruptions is impossible, and when they happen, one cannot tell how long they will last. This is the Fagradalsfjall volcano, one of the most active in recent times. Other volcanoes in Iceland are inaccessible, but Fagradalsfjall is easily reached from Reykjavik, making it a popular site. Each eruption is preceded by thousands of small earthquakes. The lava flows continuously instead of exploding. It's a unique eruption among all the volcanoes in Iceland. However, after an eruption, volcanic gas levels can be dangerous. And when the lava cools, it might seem safe, but beneath a thin crust, there could be molten lava. This volcanic activity is not just interesting for onlookers and geologists, but is also crucial for Icelanders. Geothermal energy provides a significant portion of the country's electricity. Icelandic geography offers a stark and austere view. Hot springs bubble, juxtaposed with desert terrains covered in ash. Devoid of trees, the horizon lays clear, revealing a landscape marked by mist accumulating around high peaks. In certain places, not a single shrub dares challenge the dominance of the imposing volcanic rock. Endless roads unfold like asphalt ribbons, disappearing into the distance. In southern Iceland is Reynisfjara Beach, one of the most beautiful, but also most dangerous in the world. The force with which waves crash on the shore and the considerable undertow have resulted in several lethal incidents. It may seem like a calm sea, but in an instant, its violent tide swiftly invades the beach. The black sand is lava, which cooled quickly upon contacting water, creating small black basalt fragments. In front stand the Reynisdrangar islets, shaped by sea erosion. It's said they were trolls, turned to rock when illuminated by the first rays of dawn. In another of Iceland's most remote corners is Fjords Canyon. It stretches out over a vast area, its walls standing like petrified giants. With each passing day, the Fjordra River, flowing at the canyon's base, continues carving its path through the terrain. The constant sound of its flow clashes against the canyon walls, creating music that blends with the wind's blow. Southeast of Iceland lies another land the Vikings once inhabited, the Faroe Islands. Kausoi is one of the many volcanic islands making up this archipelago. It's also nicknamed the Flute due to its elongated structure and numerous tunnels. Local mythology holds that a troll favors this island as its instrument. Only a few dozen inhabitants live here. It's a solitary island, only accessible by sea. The Faroe Islands' geographical isolation makes them one of Europe's lesser-known gems. The Møllefosser waterfall falls directly from the cliff into the Atlantic Ocean. The relentless force of the sea results in the formation of countless caves lining these islands. The lack of trees and a landscape full of cliffs showcase a wild and imposing beauty. To the west of the Faroe Islands is Greenland, the world's largest island. Where some of the planet's most impressive ice masses are found. Its icebergs are true natural monuments. Originating from Greenlandic glaciers, where enormous chunks of ice break off and venture into the ocean. The size of these icebergs can be truly astonishing. Some reach heights that rival the world's tallest buildings, though their main volume lies submerged beneath the sea surface. They're more than mere ice sculptures. They provide a vital habitat for birds, seals, and a myriad of microorganisms. The pure ice of the iceberg has a blue hue for its ability to absorb red light and reflect blue light. As they melt, they pour vast amounts of water, altering and reducing the surrounding salinity. As we approach the North Pole, we reach Svalbard, a Norwegian archipelago nestled in the Arctic region. Here are some of the most isolated settlements on the planet. In the summer, it's a geologist's paradise. The receding ice reveals fossils and rocks millions of years old. What was once a snowy landscape has transformed into a panorama of sand and rock. Even with these milder temperatures, most of Svalbard remains uninhabited. Some of the islands in the archipelago, like Jan Mayen, are preserved as natural spaces, with landings allowed only in designated areas. During the summer, the likelihood of seeing walruses in Svalbard increases. They spend more time on land during the warmer months. Colonies of these animals can be observed resting on beaches or small islets. They are very social animals that usually live in groups. They may seem clumsy on land, but in the water, they are agile. Although the population has increased in recent years, it is still far from its original size. Our next stop is Lisa Fjord, on the Norwegian west coast. It's a fjord with steep cliffs and deep blue waters. These massive cliffs are the result of millions of years of glacial erosion. Atop them stands Preikestolen, formed over 10,000 years ago. It's Norway's most famous rock, with a vertical drop that causes hearts to flutter. In Finland, its unique geography is defined by its boreal location. It is the most forested country in Europe, with much of its land covered in woods. Lapland stands out for its pristine nature and snowy landscapes. It is one of the most remote and least populated places in Europe. The terrain is dominated by tundras, mountains, and fir and pine forests that appear sugar-coated. During the winter, Lapland experiences the so-called kemos, or polar darkness. During this time, the sun doesn't rise for several weeks, but the gleaming snow helps to light up the landscape. Many of Finland's thousands of lakes are in Lapland. On cold nights, the lakes reflect the lights of the auroras, creating a breathtaking spectacle. They can take many forms, such as arches, curtains, spirals, and crowns. They change over time as the aurora dances in the sky. This region is also known for being home to rich wildlife, in which the reindeer holds a prominent place. It holds exceptional importance for the Sami, the indigenous people of Lapland, who have depended on this animal for their livelihood for centuries. Reindeer are an animal adapted to the harsh winters and short summers of the north. They have dense and thick fur, enabling them to survive the extreme winter temperatures. They are ruminants, so they have a specialized digestive system that allows them to extract nutrients from the fibrous plants in their diet. In the geographical center of Europe, in Switzerland, we find the Glacier 3000. An example of how geology and climate work together to create unique landscapes. Here, the air is thin and cold, even in summer. At the summit, after crossing the suspension bridge, a panoramic view of the Swiss Alps awaits. To the east is Alpstein, an equally stunning mountainous area. Not as famous as other Swiss regions, but it has its own unmistakable beauty. The meadows and clear alpine lakes create an enchanting ambiance. Predominantly limestone with jagged and rugged mountains. The Alps are the only place in Europe where the alpine ibex lives. During the hottest hours of the day, they usually rest in the shade of the rocks. They can move safely across steep and slippery terraces, even when these are frozen during winter. Since the extinction of the wolf in the Alps, they have no natural predators, and currently there's a thriving and healthy population. Crossing the border into Italy, one of Europe's most dazzling scenes awaits. The Dolomites. They symbolize the majestic power and captivating beauty of terrestrial geology. Their cliffs, narrow valleys, and delicate hues transport you to an unmatched landscape. The stark differences between the jagged mountains and the peaceful meadows leaves observers in awe. As the sun begins to set, the rock takes on an ethereal glow. The lakes, flashing of turquoise blue, enrich the scenery, surrounded by lush forests. The Dolomites are part of the Alps, but they are distinct mountains. They are composed of dolomite rock, with shapes that create towers and spires. Millions of years ago, a tropical ocean was here. These layers of rock, made of shells and corals, rose from the sea and formed massive mountains, creating this beautiful landscape. Heading south in Italy, we arrive at the Amalfi Coast. With brightly colored towns clinging to the coast. Positano dazzles with its pink and terracotta houses, rising in terraces from the sea. Atrani, besides its beach, forms a natural amphitheater. It illustrates the possibility of harmonious coexistence between humans and nature. In northern France, in the Normandy region, lies the small coastal town of Étretat, known for its dramatic cliffs. They are mainly composed of chalk, a type of soft rock, allowing these steep shapes to be carved. The persistent action of wind, water, and thaw gradually erodes the cliffs, causing them to slowly recede. The Needle and La Porte d'Aval are two of the best-known rock formations. But there are many more, each with its own unique character and charm. in the numerous French forests and spread throughout much of Europe, is the green woodpecker. It's not endangered, but it is a cautious bird and can be difficult to spot. It carves out a nest, usually in the crown of a tree, like an oak or beech. Both the female and male take part in incubation, alternating every few hours. After about 3 weeks of life, the chicks get their feathers and need a plentiful intake of ants and other insects to survive. They will remain under constant care until they achieve the self-sufficiency needed to find their own food. Upon crossing the English Channel, we arrive in Scotland, United Kingdom, where the Isle of Skye emerges. Filled with emerald green valleys, rocky crags, and rugged coastlines. It's a landscape dotted with grass-covered mountains. The unparalleled geology of the Trotternish Peninsula on Skye is widely recognized. It includes the Old Man of Storr, a rock pinnacle that stands magnificently above the surrounding landscape. On Skye, the weather can be extremely variable, with frequent mist covering the mountains and persistent rains. In the neighboring country, in the Republic of Ireland, the sheer walls of the cliffs of Moher stretch out. They rise above the Atlantic Ocean, offering absolutely breathtaking views. Rising almost vertically, they form a stone wall that runs along the coast. The powerful waves of the Atlantic have eroded the base of the cliffs, while the wind and rain have shaped the top. The beauty is undeniable, although venturing off the marked areas can be dangerous. In fact, several fatal accidents have occurred in recent years. The strata exposed in the cliffs offers a window to the past. Over millions of years, sea sediments, including sand, mud, and remains of marine animals, accumulated and compressed to form the layers of rock that now make up the cliffs. In southern Europe, in Portugal, lies the town of Nazare. It was originally a small and picturesque fishing village. For centuries, Nazare children have been taught that because of the waves, it's risky to approach the cliffs. But today, it's known for having some of the biggest waves ever surfed. They are massive and unpredictable waves, making them especially dangerous. The reason for these massive waves is the Nazare Canyon, a unique underwater structure of great length and depth. Venturing southwest into the Atlantic, the Portuguese island of Madeira stands out for its formidable mountainous landscape. This volcanic origin archipelago began forming millions of years ago. Erosion has played a significant role in shaping the landscape, creating awe-inspiring cliffs and deep valleys. The main island of the archipelago, also called Madeira, has a mountainous geography with a variety of microclimates. The northern part of the island tends to be wetter and cooler than the south. And the waters surrounding it are some of the deepest in Europe. It's a steep and rugged terrain, with few sandy beaches. From October to March, rains can be plentiful, and the sea filled with large waves. A Portuguese archipelago with even taller mountains is the Azores, located in the North Atlantic Ocean. The volcanic cones and craters found on these islands are clear evidence of their volcanic formation. In fact, the Azores are peaks of underwater mountains. Originating from thousands of volcanoes, of which only a few remain active. The Azores are also called the European Hawaii. Some areas have similar landscapes, with vegetation-covered mountains and waterfalls dropping from great heights. The largest and most populated island of the Azores is São Miguel, also called the Green Island. Given that the interior has depressions and volcanic formations, settlements are limited to the coastal areas. In the past, due to vast distances and rugged landscapes, communities could be isolated for much of the year. However, nowadays there are numerous roads connecting the most populated areas. We now head to the north of Greece, toward a region of exceptional geography. Atop these vertical rocks lie medieval monasteries, constructed by Orthodox monks. They aimed to have a place of retreat and meditation, away from the material world. Each monastery holds unique treasures, from Byzantine icons to ancient manuscripts and sacred relics. In the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, we find a haven for winter sports enthusiasts. It's a mountain range at the intersection of Asia and Europe. But the real beauty isn't limited to the ski slopes. There are snow-capped peaks, gorges, and meadows stretching as far as the eye can see. The scenic beauty and thrill one experiences are rewarding, although there are inherent risks, such as avalanches. In the nearby Near East, the Dead Sea is another one of the world's most extraordinary places. Its salinity, 10 times higher than that of the ocean, makes this body of water one of the saltiest on the planet. When the water evaporates, the salt that cannot be absorbed accumulates and solidifies, forming salt islands. Due to these extreme conditions, there's hardly any life in this sea, except for certain species of microorganisms. Close to the Dead Sea, we encounter Wadi Rum, or the Valley of the Moon. It's a desert with shades of red, orange, and gold. With rock formations shaped by winds over millions of years into unexpected and astonishing shapes. The red sands create a strange and surreal atmosphere. as if on a distant planet. The valley, spacious and peaceful, unfolds without visible limits, only interrupted by cliffs, fissures, and canyons. It's a place where the vastness of the universe feels nearer, and the stillness of the night invites reflection and awe. Turning toward the east, we encounter a completely different setting, the desert of Dubai, or Rub al Khali. It's one of the largest sand deserts in the world. One of the most inhospitable regions. It's a sea of sand and dunes whose shape constantly changes under the relentless winds. Bedouins have inhabited these lands for centuries, adapting to the climate and environment with resilience and ingenuity. A short distance away, one can behold human ingenuity's creation, the palm Jumeirah. The palm Jumeirah. It's one of the modern wonders of architecture and engineering. A luxury oasis in the waters of the Persian Gulf. From metropolitan splendor, crossing the Arabian Sea, we head to the dizzying heights of Asia, where the Himalayas are located. It stretches across 5 countries, becoming the highest mountain range in the world. Its mountains rise like titans, born millions of years ago from the tectonic collision between the Indian Plate and the Eurasian Plate. This range is so vast that it has prevented human migration. India was spared from the conquests of Genghis Khan, and cultural differences on either side are significant. Formed by multiple atolls, right in the middle of the Indian Ocean, the Maldives display extraordinary biodiversity. These islands are one of the few destinations on the planet where you can enjoy the proximity of whale sharks year-round. Despite their size, they are gentle and calm creatures. They primarily feed on krill, which are tiny crustaceans that inhabit all of Earth's oceans. It's common to spot them near the water's surface, where they open their wide mouths to filter the water and feed. The white polka dot pattern on their skin allows for their identification and tracking to learn more about them. Siphonophores, present here and in other oceans, form colonies of individual units called zooids that work together as a single organism. Some can grow larger than whales or sharks. They can be bioluminescent, a skill they use to disorient predators or attract prey. The manta ray is another notable inhabitant of the Maldives reefs. It uses its large mouth to channel plankton-rich water into its filtering system, where it extracts and consumes its food. During these feeding sessions, manta rays often perform loop or barrel roll movements. The spotted ray uses its patterned skin to camouflage itself on the floor. The black-spotted moray eel defends its home with a territorial demeanor. There are also some guitarfish sightings, critically endangered due to overfishing. On rare occasions, one might see the blue-ringed octopus. It is one of the world's most dangerous octopus species. The frogfish has the ability to change its color, camouflaging itself with its surroundings. It's a carnivore that waits patiently until a small fish is within its reach. On our journey eastward, we reach Kamchatka Peninsula. Marked by mountains, dense forests, and tundras. It is a harsh and inhospitable place, yet life also thrives. The stellar sea lions that inhabit this region spend much of their time feeding in the water. But they come ashore to rest and reproduce. They like these islands because they can avoid land predators and have easy access to the open sea. We fly over the plains and seas of East Asia, landing in the dazzling Ha Long Bay in Vietnam. Composed of thousands of limestone islands and islets over the emerald waters of the Gulf of Tonkin. The floating fishing villages have made the bay their home for generations. They've adapted to this way of life, to the rhythm of the tides and the bounty of the sea. They live in simple, yet colorful floating homes, built on buoys and connected by networks of walkways. Given its importance for survival, fishing is a skill passed down from generation to generation. In the neighboring country, we marvel at the Great Wall of China, the longest man-made monument ever built. It was erected to protect the Chinese Empire from the incursions of Mongol and Manchu nomadic tribes. The construction of this fortification was so complex that it spans over 2,000 years. It's estimated that millions of individuals took part in its construction. And legend has it that workers who died during the construction were sometimes buried in the wall. Contrary to popular belief, the Great Wall of China is not visible from space without visual aid. In Chinese culture, it is associated with the dragon, a symbol of protection and power. In Japan, Japanese macaques turn to hot springs as a way to keep warm during the cold months. They are the northernmost living monkey species in the world. They've been observed using tools like stones to crack open nuts and shells. Unlike many other primate species, Japanese macaques enjoy swimming. The younger individuals are sometimes the first to enter the hot springs. They learn skills and behaviors by watching the older members of the group. They can live up to 30 years in the wild and gather in groups of dozens of individuals. Heading south, we arrive at the smallest continent. While the interior of Australia is remote and arid, there is a tropical area in the far north. with landscapes that might be mistaken for South America. Here lie some of the oldest rainforests on the planet, dating back millions of years. They contain plants that are classified as some of the most primitive on Earth, like cycads and various types of ferns. Much of tropical Australia is under the stewardship of Aboriginal peoples who have lived on these lands for thousands of years. Their territory includes diverse habitats, ranging from these rainforests to expanses of savannas dominated by eucalyptus. Of special mention is the Wallaman Waterfall in Geringan National Park, which boasts Australia's highest continuous fall. The elevation varies in different parts of the park, leading to a variety of microclimates. This Australian tropical area is home to the cassowary, one of Australia's largest and rarest birds. It's one of the few bird species that can't fly. If they perceive a threat, they can be dangerous. Their defensive kicks are notoriously strong and can inflict serious harm. The Great Barrier Reef, the world's largest coral reef, lies off Australia's eastern coast. It's a marine ecosystem of such magnitude and extent that it can even be seen from space. It houses an incredible variety of life, including about 1,600 species of fish, 400 types of coral, 4,000 species of mollusks, and over 240 species of birds. Millions of tiny living beings, known as coral polyps, come together to form this reef. These tiny creatures produce calcium carbonate to build a solid structure that serves as a framework. Some parts of the reef are up to 8,000 years old. The dugong is one of the mammal species that lives in the waters of the Great Barrier Reef. Australia holds the largest and healthiest population of these animals. They are the only marine mammals that predominantly consume aquatic vegetation, with seagrass being their main food source. Despite their appearance being similar to manatees, the dugong is more closely related to elephants. Traversing part of southern Australia, the Great Ocean Road is the world's longest war memorial road, built by soldiers returning from World War I. it was done by hand, using picks, shovels, and wheelbarrows, with dynamite being used to clear rocks. From here, one can take in multiple landscapes, such as cliffs, beaches, forests, waterfalls, and marshes. Within its expanse are the famous 12 Apostles, a series of limestone formations that have eroded over time. Today, only 8 remain. It's possible to spot koalas, kangaroos, wallabies, and a wide variety of birds along the road. Though the journey is fascinating, it can also be dangerous due to landslides, especially in parts closer to the cliffs. It features a series of lookout points where drivers stop to enjoy the sensational views. Crossing the Pacific Ocean to Alaska, we are met with a wild and untamed landscape. Alaska is the largest state in the United States, with no land border with any other state. It also has the lowest population density. Covered with lakes, swamps, and wetlands. And it's the region with the most glaciers in the United States. Likewise, many of the country's highest mountains are located here. Its landscapes range from lush forests and glaciers to mountain ranges that seem to reach the sky. In Alaska, flying is part of the culture of remote settlements. Only a small portion of the territory is accessible by land. In the colder regions, sled dogs are another option for transportation. These robust and resilient canines are true athletes. They must be intelligent, quick in decision-making, and have an excellent relationship with the musher. Yellowstone National Park, located in the western sector of the United States, is a dazzling natural treasure, the world's first national park. This reserve contains a large proportion of the world's geysers. It's one of the last intact ecosystems in the Earth's temperate zone. The American bison is the true king of these vast landscapes. It is the largest mammal in North America. Yellowstone is the only place in the country where this animal has lived since prehistoric times. Another of the more common mammal species that can be spotted in this protected area is the bighorn sheep. Before the mating season, males fight to establish a dominance hierarchy. They stand apart, face each other, and charge, clashing horns. The bone of the skull absorbs the impact, but they can become exhausted and vulnerable to predators. Despite this, the fight is necessary, as females prefer dominant males. Usually, only the older and stronger rams succeed at mating. In the mountain ranges of northern and central Nevada, mustangs roam freely. They are living symbols of freedom and the indomitable spirit of the Old West. Descendants of horses brought to America by Spanish conquerors in the 16th century. Over time, many of these horses escaped or were released, forming wild herds that spread across the West. They are adapted to an environment that is both beautiful and challenging. They are known for their endurance and agility, qualities that have been essential for their survival in the harsh conditions of these mountains. They are sturdy animals with compact and strong bodies, adapted to travel long distances in search of food and water. The pronghorn, also known as the American antelope, is another iconic animal of these mountain ranges. They live in open prairies and on mountain slopes. They are among the fastest terrestrial mammals. Their agility, combined with their exceptional vision, allows them to evade predators in these open areas. They have long and slender legs, with a lightweight and streamlined body. Another geological wonder of the United States is Crater Lake. It ranks among the deepest lakes in America. It was formed as the result of a violent eruption that shook Mount Mazama over 7,000 years ago. After this cataclysmic event, smaller earthquakes occurred in the subsequent centuries. Thus, several ash cones formed on the floor of the caldera. The only visible and tallest one is Wizard Island, named so because it resembles a wizard hat. The deep cobalt blue of the lake contrasts with the green of the surrounding forests. Several of the historical eruptions in the United States have occurred in volcanoes of this range. And the risk of a large-scale eruption remains significant. This is a largely unpopulated, wild area that began to be explored in the 18th century. Within California's Sierra Nevada Yosemite National Park is the refuge for some of the planet's most gigantic trees. The grizzly giant sequoia, aged over 2,000 years, already existed during the height of the Roman Empire. Heading southwest in the state of Arizona, another natural wonder of the United States awaits: the Grand Canyon, colossal in size and time. With rocks dating back 2 billion years, nearly half the age of the Earth. Over time, the Colorado River has eroded the landscape, creating a ribbon of cliffs, plateaus, and precipices. For millennia, the native peoples of the United States have inhabited the area, building settlements in the canyon and its caves. On the border of Arizona and Utah lies Monument Valley. It would be described as an open-air museum showcasing sandstone towers and natural arches, contrasting with the arid desert ground. A backdrop reminiscent of iconic old Western films. Navajo legend says these pillars are the corpses of defeated monsters. To them, this is a sacred site, considered the heart of the earth. Sailing to exotic destinations in the vast Pacific, we land in captivating Hawaii. This U.S. state is the most isolated place in the world, with a significant human population. It's an archipelago of islands, islets, atolls, and reefs. These are volcanic islands with hundreds of volcanoes, several of which are active. The large volcanic peaks we see above the ocean are only a small part of a vast mountain chain underwater. Due to volcanic eruptions, Hawaiian territory is slowly growing. Some of the wettest places on the planet are on these islands. Returning to the coast, in the Sea of Cortez, off western Mexico, we dive into an incredible marine life display. Thousands of mobile rays come to this ocean to feed and reproduce. They are fascinating for their tendency to leap out of the water. It's an intriguing phenomenon. It might be a form of communication, to shake off parasites, or perhaps just for fun. In the Sea of Cortez, you can also observe the bottlenose dolphin. These social animals live in groups called pods. Individuals in this sea may have a paler appearance, possibly due to sun exposure. They are known to interact with animals of other species, like humans. The markings on their skin can be used to identify individual dolphins. And they are capable of recognizing themselves, something few species can do. Faster even than the dolphins are the sailfish. They have a long and slender body, perfectly adapted for speed and maneuverability in the water. Its most notable feature is the large dorsal fin, or sail, from which they get their name. They can use it by raising it during hunting, or as a defense mechanism. It's known that they hunt in groups, corralling their prey into a small area. Once the prey is cornered, sailfish strike them with their long, slender bills, stunning them before consuming them. In western Mexico, on the Yucatan Peninsula, cenotes are connected by complex systems of underground rivers and caves. Some are shallow, contrasting with others that are considerably deep. Cenotes are distinguished by the exceptional clarity of their water, thanks to its natural filtration through limestone. Experienced divers can take advantage of these formations by cave diving. They explore the intricate networks of underground caves and tunnels. It's common for cenotes to exhibit tidal flow due to their connection with the sea. Some harbor unique animals, including fish and crustaceans, that have evolved to live in these environments of almost total darkness. Our journey takes us to Central America, specifically to Guatemala, where we can admire a large number of volcanoes. The earliest records of volcanic activity in Guatemala date back to pre-Columbian times with the Mayans. It's one of the countries with the highest volcanic activity. In fact, several Guatemalan cities are built on volcanic terrain. The country is part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, a highly seismic and volcanic region. These eruptions can be destructive, but they also contribute to Guatemalan biodiversity, providing mineral-rich soils ideal for flora and fauna. Several of these volcanoes are stratovolcanoes, which are large and almost perfectly conical due to alternating layers of lava and ash. Volcán de Fuego is one of the most active in the world and Central America. Its eruptions are violent and have been active since the Spanish arrival. Legend has it that the conqueror Pedro de Alvarado saw it erupting. Moving along the Central American Isthmus route, we arrive in Costa Rica, one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. The cloud forests, constantly covered in mist, have a hazy and ethereal appearance. They are home to thousands of plant species and numerous rare and endangered animals. Among them, the quetzal, with its brilliant emerald green plumage. During the mating season, males develop elongated tail feathers. Despite this length, quetzals have an incredibly silent flight. They are notoriously difficult to keep in captivity and tend to die rapidly. Costa Rica is also associated with its dozens of hummingbird species, each with its unique colors and behaviors. They play a crucial role as pollinators in the ecosystems of their natural parks. These birds have the extraordinary ability to fly backward as well as upward, downward, and laterally. They can flap their wings up to 80 times per second, allowing them to hover in place. They have the fastest metabolism of all birds, needing to consume large amounts of nectar daily to maintain their energy. They possess long, forked tongues that they use to lap nectar from flowers. Entering South America, we are greeted by the lands of the Amazon, the largest jungle in the world. Termed the green lung of the planet, it is responsible for generating a significant portion of the world's total oxygen. It has more species of plants and animals than any other rainforest. There are billions of individual trees representing thousands of different species. It's so vast, that parts of it have not yet been explored by humans. The Amazon River, which runs through the jungle, is one of the 2 longest rivers in the world. It has the largest drainage basin on Earth. Its vastness is astonishing. During the rainy season, its flow increases and its width expands. Part of the Amazon rainforest is in Peru, where Vinicunca can be found, a stunning and beautiful multicolored mountain range. These are vibrant and colorful layers that unfold like a rainbow on the mountainside. These colors are due to the presence of various minerals in the rock layers. Each color represents a different type of mineral. The red comes from clay, the green from chlorite, the yellow from limonite, and the purple from goethite. Over millions of years, plate tectonics and erosion have exposed these colorful layers. It is a sacred area for the indigenous communities that live there. Continuing our journey south, we marvel at Torres del Paine National Park, one of the most spectacular and renowned destinations in Chilean Patagonia. It boasts vast steppes, subpolar forests, and alpine tundra areas. The park's most iconic silhouette is, without a doubt, the Torres del Paine, 3 sheer granite peaks that rise into the sky. Guanacos, with their curious appearance and grace, are often seen grazing on the steppes and mountain slopes. Visitors can view glaciers, including the Gray Glacier, which is part of the southern Patagonian ice field. It is believed that thousands of years ago, this glacier covered much of southern Chile and Argentina. Navigating the vast Antarctic Ocean, we reach the southernmost tip of our planet. A continent where life must adapt to the most extreme environments. Antarctica. Here is a large reserve of fresh water, mostly confined in the gigantic ice sheet covering the entire continent. It is considered the largest desert on the planet, ahead of the Arctic Desert and the Sahara. Only icebreakers can navigate in these tough conditions. They are the most powerful ships in the ocean, designed to sail through icy waters and break the ice. Although icebreakers are powerful machines, there are inaccessible corners of Antarctica that can only be reached by helicopter. They can also carry small planes that load and unload. Only a few animal species highly adapted to this environment can survive. Among them, the emperor penguin. The life of the chicks is tough. They only have a few months to learn to survive on their own. If a chick is abandoned, it will have no chance of staying alive. In the Antarctic summer, conditions are less extreme. And the landscapes take on different colors and shapes. The ice sheet shrinks in size, creating gigantic icebergs that break off and float in the ocean. Sea ice can decrease by up to half, opening new navigation routes. There are even areas completely cleared of snow and ice. The winds aren't as strong. The sun never fully sets, and survival is more feasible. Sailing the waters of the South Atlantic and traveling along the western coast of Africa, we delve into the plains of the Serengeti in northern Tanzania. With an area comparable to that of some small countries, it is one of the largest African national parks. Few places on the planet showcase such a pristine and intact ecosystem. It's known for its high concentration of large cats. It is estimated that there are about 3,000 lions grouped into several hundred prides. Lions are the most social big cats. Prides are made up of related lionesses and a group of male lions. They can rest up to 20 hours a day. Their ambush hunting lifestyle requires short but intense bursts of energy. This natural park is the setting for the Great Migration, the world's most spectacular land movement. It occurs in an annual cycle as animals follow rain patterns to find new pastures. The challenge of the Moher River is just one of the many water barriers animals must overcome during their migration. Despite the danger, they seem to feel an instinctual drive to cross it at the same spot, year after year. They typically cross in large groups, which can deter some predators. Every year, thousands of wildebeests and zebras drown or are devoured by crocodiles. we end our journey on this continent, the cradle of humanity, on a planet that, despite being one of the billions in the universe, is the only one where we know life exists. At least as far as we know, for now.